Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of First Look Final Word, a podcast where we take you along to see a new movie with us. My name's Pete.
And I'm Trevor, and today's a special episode, right?
Yeah, you might have noticed from the title, it wasn't an error. We were actually doing a double header today.
Yeah, double feature.
Yeah.
And since we're running late, I'm going to go ahead and read the synopses of this. First up is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters new and old must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age.
Okay, new and old.
Those dang ghosts starting a new ice age. And we're seeing Godzilla X Con, or did you say Godzilla times Con?
It's like Kong Squared.
The new empire. Following their explosive showdown, Godzilla and Kong must reunite against a colossal, undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own.
Nicely done, Trevor.
So yeah, they thought we didn't care about the existence of Kong and Godzilla. We might care about us.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna get going. We're due to arrive right when Ghostbusters start, but hopefully there'll be some commercials.
It'll be fine. You always put 15 minutes worth of nonsense before they actually get going.
Yeah.
You might just have to skip the concessions. Wait for the mid-movie point.
Yeah. Well, and we kind of planned it out well so that we're basically exiting Ghostbusters, and within 10 minutes we're going into the new Godzilla flick, right?
Yes, exactly.
More or
So
less.
it should be good, yeah. And Ghostbusters has been out for a week already, so we're not quite right on the heels of that one. But Godzilla's opening weekend just coming up, so
Yeah.
not really seeing any reaction to this one yet. But I guess this is going to be one of those cases where we've probably seen reactions to Ghostbusters this week, so we might have a little bit more know what we're going in for.
I've seen some stuff, though. I've been trying to avoid it because I don't want to be going into with preconceptions built already.
That's fair. Yeah, it seemed pretty mixed as well from what I've seen. I've not really gone in depth on any reviews or anything, but what I've seen, just like log lines for it, it seems like it's been fairly mixed.
Yeah. Well, should we get into what our history with that franchise
The Ghostbusters? Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So did Ghostbusters travel well?
You mean to the UK?
To the UK, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like it traveled everywhere, right? Like it was staple of the 80s, which we are like bang in, right? So definitely it's traveled. I'll tell you what though, when I was a kid, it wasn't the movies that got me into Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It was
The real Ghostbusters?
It's the real
Yeah,
Ghostbusters. I figured you'd have the same thing to say.
Yeah. Well, I used to wake up early before the school bus picked me up to watch the real Ghostbusters every morning.
Right.
And I'd say, and I think this is pretty common for people our age, is that they built a attachment to the show kind of before or like maybe in parallel with the movie.
Right.
Because yeah, like I feel like a lot of people our age think like, Ghostbusters are serious guys who do serious stuff.
That's the thing. I remember when I think about it, it's like, oh, you were a Ghostbusters fan. I was like, yeah, I was really into the Ghostbusters when I was a kid. And then I was thinking, but not really the movie. The movie's pretty scary when you were a little kid. It's like, I was just like, I probably saw the cartoon before I saw the movie, if I'm being honest.
I can't remember which I saw first. I think it was probably pretty close to one another. Like we had the VHS copy.
Yeah, I think we had Ghostbusters 2. I have stronger memories of Ghostbusters 2 than I do of Ghostbusters 1. And I am like, I will go back for Ghostbusters 2. I love Ghostbusters 2.
Was that your story for the Indiana Jones as well? Like,
yeah, I was a big Temple of Doom guy, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's so funny. Well, for the same reason I liked Last Crusade, because that was the one we owned.
Right, yeah, that's the one, right? The first one you see, the one you see the most.
Yeah, and the second one's interesting because it's like barely a comedy at all. Like it's just,
Right.
It's like, if it wasn't for Bill Murray just like making quips every now and then, it would really just be like, we got to figure out what's going on with this slime.
It really is. Then like start dancing around in the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, would you say like it was like a beloved franchise of yours?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. Like it was the one where like I had the proton pack and the trap when I was a kid, dressing up,
yeah, I feel like
play
every
with
kid
my friends. Yeah,
for Halloween.
everyone. It's like when they did it in Stranger Things, right? It was like that's definitely what everybody did back then.
Yeah, but I don't know how you felt about it when it came out, but like when the Paul Feig version came out, like I did, and I'm not saying I like the movie, but when it came out, like
when you yourself out there, Trevor.
I didn't feel protective of Ghostbusters as a thing. Like the way that I have in the past for like Star Wars. Like I was
True.
like really worried that they're gonna. I'm always worried that they're gonna mess Star Wars up more than they have already done. So
I don't know. I
but
think
like I don't really. I'm not protective of Ghostbusters. As a
really, it's
franchise.
interesting you say that because I feel like I am a bit like when they did that, like you said, the women Ghostbusters one, right? The genders flipped in. I wasn't too worried about that because it was like it wasn't pissing in the pool. Wasn't messing with canon. It was like it was just its own thing.
Yeah.
Dude, with Ghostbusters, I'm like, fine, just do that. Like I was all for it. Didn't really like that movie, but
Yeah, like I didn't object to it on principle. I just wish it was, wish it was
exactly.
better.
Yeah, like there was parts of it that were pretty good. Like Hemsworth is amazing in that. He's so
good.
funny in that.
But like,
I saw the clip the other day where he's talking about my cat.
Yeah.
It's like, gonna bring my cat. He's like, no, it's a dog. His name's my cat.
Yeah.
It's like stupid joke, man, but he sells it so well.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, he really should do more comedy.
He really should. He's so good at it.
But like the people who just absolutely hate that movie also hate Chris Hemsworth in that movie.
Really?
Because they say like, oh, there's one man's role in there, and they made him a total idiot.
Well,
but like he's the best part of the movie.
That was kind of the point, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But no,
A lot of the people hate that movie for stupid, like misogynistic reasons, which is not why I don't like it. It just ended up not being that great of a movie, but
well, and I feel like it should have worked. Like I don't know what went wrong. Like all the actors, like maybe minus Leslie Jones, I'm not too crazy about. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm a fan of everybody basically.
exactly, like the cast were all really great. Yeah, I don't know, it just sort of fell off. I think they just lost their way with the script, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and so how did you feel about the Afterlife, which is kind of not really a retcon, but it's just imagining a world where that Ghostbusters movie didn't exist.
No, exactly. I really liked it. It was a weird one because I really liked how they introduced the new characters and like the kids, and like I was on board with what they were up to, and then like in the final third it kind of shifted to be more more of the nostalgia of bringing the Ghostbusters back and having like Egon's ghost show up, and like my logical mind and my critical mind was like that's kind of ruined this movie, but for Crowbar and all that, and it's just fan service. But then the Ghostbusters fan in me was like, this is fucking amazing. Like, look at them all together again.
I feel like they gave the fans kind of exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, they did.
And I'm not the first to make this comparison, but it really is like The Force Awakens.
Yes,
where, like,
yes.
It's riding really high in a nostalgia wave, and that's not necessarily criticism.
No.
And how I felt at the time was like, okay, like I see what you're doing. And it worked. Okay, you got me. But you get one.
Yes.
You get one of these.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's exactly how I felt at Force Awakens. I was like, you needed that to get it back on track.
Yeah.
Everyone's
exactly.
back into Star Wars now because you basically just did it again. Same with Ghostbusters. Okay, we're back on track with Ghostbusters. It's the follow-up. This is why I'm a bit concerned about this one.
Yeah.
Because like from what I'm seeing in the market and from what I'm seeing, it's like I feel like there's going to be way too much OG Ghostbusters in it.
It seems like it. Like, just let them, like, and they're in New York now, which I think is a big mistake. Like, I think you got to divorce yourself from New York entirely, and then...
Well, I mean, there's a way they could have done it. I think, like, I like the way they set it up at the end of Afterlife, where it was like Winston comes back to New York and he's like, I'm going to set up the Ghostbusters again and kind of bankroll it.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah,
part of the
I
ending.
think it was like
because he's like a millionaire.
It might have been a post-credit scene, to be fair. But
maybe.
He goes back to the firehouse and it's like all run down and he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to bring it back together. And I was like, I can totally see how that works, where Winston's kind of like the old guy who's just running things, but he's not suiting up and running about because he's an old, I was going to say he's an old man, but have you seen him? I saw a picture of him on the red carpet.
Yeah, he looks great.
He looks like the same, he's like hench.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd looks like a potato.
I know, right? It's like the rest of them are like OEPs and he's running around like he could still do it.
Yeah.
But like I could see him being like, and it was funny, I heard an interview with him actually, and he said he actually referred to himself as the Nick Fury of the Ghostbusters universe, which made me laugh at first. But I was like, I could see that.
Yeah.
He's just like the big guy, and then like there's a bunch of Ghostbusters running around. And you could do one in a different region, different country, like make it Ghostbusters International.
Yeah. Like so how did you feel about like the young cast coming in?
I liked him. Like I forget her name, who plays Egon's granddaughter, I guess it would be.
Yeah, well, she was the highlight of the movie for me.
Yeah,
like, I think she was.
And from what I've heard, she's the main focus of this movie.
Yeah, well,
like, she's the main character. Basically.
That's smart because, like,
It is smart.
Honestly, like Finn Wolfhard, like
He's fine. I like him, but I mean, he's not like you don't want to lead your movie with him. I don't think.
well, I just feel like I've seen it. I've seen what this kid could do. It's fine.
I mean, and he can just do that. Like, he can be a side character. That's totally fine.
No, well, I'm glad to hear that she's the main focus because she was certainly like the linchpin of the last movie.
Yeah. What I also heard is there's like way too many characters in this one.
Okay.
Like 13 main characters in the end scene.
Well, yeah. Well, because I saw they were pushing like Patton Oswalt pretty hard. Like,
Yeah.
I'm an Oswalt fan. Like,
Yeah, that's what.
Dan
Even,
Aykroyd's all over that trailer.
like even in the trailer, you're like, wow, this seems like there's a lot of people
is
here.
Bill Murray in this?
Yeah, he's in it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
they're
feel
all
like,
about.
man, what is in it for him? Why is he doing?
That's what I mean. That's kind of what I thought. I was like the last one. Yeah, give him that one scene where they come back and they do it one last time,
Yeah.
and then just let him go. Let him like maybe bring him in for a scene where they're like, hey, I can drop some wisdom on you.
It surprises me Bill Murray still wants to do this because he has such a reputation that like he like is not precious about this sort of thing. Like in like they had to drag him back to do the second one.
True.
And they were trying to get a third one made the whole time and he's just like not interested.
Yeah, he was the holdout, right? For why they never did a third one because that made money. That second one. It's weird how they never made any more, even without him.
Well, what Harrison Ford did for Force Awakens said, like, I'll come back, but you have to murder me.
that would be great if they killed Bill Murray in this.
Well, like the nostalgia scene for like Harold Ramis, and then Bill Murray also, Venkman also dies.
That would be great, though. I would have been way on board with that if they just kill Venkman in the first scene. Do like a scream and be like, hey, here's Venkman, I'm back to being a Ghostbuster. Bang, a ghost kills him.
Actually, now that I say that, like, they did kill him in the Paul Feig one, right?
Yeah,
like, they blasted him out the window.
Yes,
so
they did.
I'm wondering if, like,
but like, they weren't really playing those characters, though.
I kind of didn't mind that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I was like, I didn't mind it because it wasn't saying like this is Venkman and here he is, and like nobody talks about the Ghostbusters anymore.
Yeah, and so going into this one, like my big concern is like, can you make a new Ghostbusters that's going to be accepted by the fans that is not like just drowning in nostalgia? Like we said, like I think we're both like pretty positive on the last one, but you know, I said like you get one time to do that. Like you can't just create a whole franchise on nostalgia. Yeah,
I know exactly what you're saying, but at the same time, I think I'm in the bag for it. I feel I feel like I'm just going to be happy there's Ghostbusters, and even, like I said, the same with the last one. Even though I'm like, don't put Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd in this for a long time. Like they're old, they don't need to do it anymore. But when I see him wearing the jumpsuit and cracking one-liners, I'm going to be like, yeah, this is Ghostbusters.
Well, yeah, I still like, I saw them in those suits, right? Like I saw them as old men in those suits. I don't need to see them as older men in those suits.
Like, I'm so torn about it. To be honest,
have like one reservation. If they do have Rick Moranis come back to wear a suit, then I'd be pretty happy.
I haven't heard that he's in it
because he doesn't act anymore, right?
No, he retired, right? Well, I heard he came back though. I heard he was coming back, but this would have been the perfect time to do it.
Yeah. Well, TBD, I guess. Yeah. We'll return to that.
That's what I did here, though. They basically just redo the first one and hit all the same beats.
For this movie again?
Yeah.
Oh, because the last one was basically...
No, but I mean, like, they're in New York, so it's like everything's the same.
Oh, okay.
And the Stay Puft, I saw the little Stay Puft guys in it. They have to wheel them out every time.
Well, I guess that
just... And Slimer's back.
Sells merchandise.
Yeah.
Was Slimer in the last one?
I don't think
there was like a Slimer-like character that they chased.
Yeah, Slimer was in the Paul Feig one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Slimette or whatever. He had a wife.
Well,
of course he did.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, good old Slimer. It's funny though because like I had a real soft spot for Slimer because of the real Ghostbusters.
Well, he was basically
part of the team.
Character,
He was part of the team, and then like in the movies, like in one scene, he's just another random ghost.
My favorite episode of the show is when Slimer accidentally gets sucked into like the ghost containment.
Oh, really?
I went through it like 10 years ago, so it's not like recently, but like I have gone through it as an adult.
I've got a fun fact about the real Ghostbusters that I just remembered.
Okay.
So the voice of Venkman in the real Ghostbusters, I can't remember his name, but it's the guy who did the voice of Garfield on the TV show.
Oh yeah,
which is funny because like he took
Bill Murray
took Bill Murray's voice, and Bill Murray was Garfield in the movie.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So then I was thinking maybe Bill Murray did that just to piss that guy off because he took his job on the real Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That was my fun fact.
Well, I thought that I had heard that Ernie Hudson went up for the role in the real Ghostbusters.
Oh, really?
He was turned down and he didn't get it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh man,
Because
that's
like, he did basically has done nothing since then, right? Like, I think he was
yeah. Well, I
basically
think he
just working the
kind of acts
working the
acts
convention circuit, and just like not being able to get in so much.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've said
Yeah, it's enough about
good piece on
Ghostbusters. I guess.
Ghostbusters. What is your history with Godzilla and or King Kong?
Yeah, Godzilla and or King Kong. I'm not a big like beloved fan of that. Like, was not big into the Toho stuff for Godzilla, and like King Kong. Like, I saw like the remake that they did whenever it was in the 80s or whatever it was. When was that?
The 80s or there's one from the 70s.
Yeah, maybe the 70s. I just remember there was
and the Peter Jackson one.
yeah, the Peter Jackson one. I liked when I saw, but like never went back to it. It was kind of just a bit meh.
Yeah.
But no, but like nothing against him. Like the new
God bless him.
yeah, good job, guys. This new monster universe they're doing, I'm okay with. Like, it's not really blowing me away. I really enjoyed the first Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
I thought it did a perfect job I did a perfect job of not revealing Godzilla too much, and it was like it's just really well plotted that way. Once they got into like him fighting in the town for half of the movie, and then when he fought King Kong, I was a bit like, okay. The problem is that the characters around them were always so dull. Like, the human characters in those movies were always so dull. So it's like
a little bit. Like I like Aaron Taylor Johnson from the first one. I think.
Yeah, like in the first one, but like the last one, Godzilla versus Kong, like they had so many characters in that. They're just like, wasn't it like who was in it? Was it Millie Bobby Brown?
Yeah, like I literally just watched it last night.
Oh, did you? I was going to.
I had to catch up with.
I had it queued up, but I didn't get around to watching it.
But yeah, like I think that I had missed the first one that she was in. So like there's like this is like the third Godzilla movie. I missed the second one.
Yeah, this one's the fourth, right? This one we're going to would be the fourth.
Yeah. So like it has her character in it,
in Kong Skull Island,
and she basically just like
didn't do anything.
Finds a podcaster, then infiltrates the base, and they don't really do anything of consequence. Like, it's just an excuse to have her in the movie, and then now I'm complaining about two of the kids from Stranger Things in this episode.
It's like, I think we've seen I think we know Trevor's not a fan of Stranger Things.
I love Stranger Things.
Just not the stupid kids that are in it.
Yeah. Well, I like her, and I like Dustin. Well, like everyone likes Dustin.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know what the actor's real name is, but
no, nobody does.
I have no time for Mike. I have no time.
No, nobody has time for Mike.
And then Will, like, they never really found anything to do for Will besides like being in the Upside Down, right?
No, yeah, I feel like maybe they almost planned to kill him off, but then changed their mind, and then like now they're just like, I don't know what to do with this kid.
Well, and I really liked season 4. I thought it was the best since the first season.
Yeah,
but
it was
like
pretty good.
Mike and Will really don't have anything to do. They're just in a car.
Yep.
And then Will is like thinking about coming out the entire season, and he still doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do with that. It's like, it seemed like I guess it is set back in the 80s or whatever, and it seemed like that was an issue that is not a big deal anymore.
But why did they hold that? Like,
exactly.
Like, why didn't they just have that be his arc in that season? Like, it just was unresolved.
Yes, that's a very good point.
Anyway,
sidetrack.
I'm very supportive of Will's character being gay. I just want him to come out. He has a good group of friends that'll accept him.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Godzilla, who, as far as we know, is a straight guy.
I think Godzilla's a lady.
Is it?
I think so. I think I might just be saying that because the like Matthew Broderick one.
Oh right, yeah. Because of all the eggs.
Was a mom because of all the eggs.
Yeah. T-Rex eggs, raptors or whatever they were.
I loved that movie as a kid. The Matthew Broderick.
I tell you what, I love the soundtrack. That soundtrack was amazing.
Well, maybe not the best time to praise Pete Diddy.
Maybe not Pete Diddy. I was talking about Jamiroquai. So.
Okay, Jamiroquai was always good too. But yeah, the "Come With Me" is a pretty good song.
It's a pretty good song.
Yeah. It's like it takes like the Led Zeppelin riff, right?
Perfect sample.
Yeah. But no, there was a time like when I was younger, I was very impressionable. So like every time I went to the theater, I went like. Oh, I think that's my favorite movie I've ever seen. This is the best movie. It's like Matthew Broderick for the Oscar. I distinctly remember going to see Godzilla and saying like, well, that is the best movie I've ever seen in my life.
To be fair though, around that time there wasn't really much like that to see. Like, what are you going to do? Watch the old like Japanese Toho movies of a guy in a rubber suit dancing around?
Yeah, so that like
Which are classics. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to want to upset any Toho fans because I know that they're classics.
yeah.
But when you're a kid, like
Yeah, that was my first experience with Godzilla. And, like,
yeah, same for me actually. That one.
But then I have seen like the classic Toho one. I don't know how many of the sequels I've really seen.
There's so many of them.
My brother-in-law and I really like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh yeah.
So we've seen like a lot of like big monster movies like through that, like just like having three people sit in front of a screen and make fun of it the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think I've seen more Gamera movies than I've seen Godzilla ones, like the Flying Turtle.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like I'm generally a fan of like, a big monster just like destroying a city. Like
what about Kong?
Yeah, well I've seen like the original one from the 30s, and I haven't seen the 70s one, which I want to say has Robert Redford in it.
Yeah, I think that's the one I remember. I think that's the first one I saw as a kid, but I only remember bits and pieces, like big animatronic hand with whoever the actress was, I forget, sat on it.
That's not Faye Dunaway, is it?
I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've literally just like read a Wikipedia.
Yeah, like I don't remember. I just remember bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But
Did you have a good impression of it?
Yeah, I remember being all like upset at the end when he's dying. Did they do a sequel? Like, why do I think there was a sequel where they did like a heart transplant on him?
Oh, interesting. Okay. No, I don't know
why I just had a weird memory of it.
Where would they get
giant
heart from?
Giant heart, or they pulled his heart out to operate on it, or give him a fake heart. I don't know. Okay. I might have been a fever dream. I might have just imagined that.
All right, was Pete having a fever dream? Please email us at firstlookfinalwords@gmail.com.
Is there a scene where they operate on King Kong and pull his heart out with a giant robot hand? Because I'm pretty sure there is.
That'd be cool. Like, I want to watch that movie now.
I'll have to cut this bit out and we'll just start writing it.
And then, yeah, like I quite liked the Peter Jackson one when it came out. Like, I love the stuff on Skull Island where they're like being attacked by those enormous insects. I think that's so scary.
So creepy. I think that's why I haven't gone back to it, because I think I liked it, but I was like, actually, this is just like creepy.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Yeah, and then once they leave the island, it falls off for me, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of weird because that was Jackson's follow-up to Lord of the Rings. Like, he could have done anything.
Yeah, he really wanted to do a King Kong movie.
Wanted to do King Kong.
Is that the movie where King Kong like suplexes a dinosaur? I'm sure there's a scene where he's like fighting a T-Rex and he like suplexes it. I remember thinking,
I can't. Well, like, you
can't ask for more from a movie from that, can you? A giant ape suplexing a dinosaur.
And then like I've mostly enjoyed these like new Monarch movies. Like,
I don't know how to feel about Kong in those movies. Like the last one, was it the last one? You watched it last night. Is that the one where they did the whole like Inner Earth arc? And
yes.
I just feel like that's really silly. But at the same time, I'm like, I can get behind silly if it works. Like,
these movies are definitely getting sillier as they go along.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, there's just some mindless fun about it.
Like this one, I'm guessing he's going to obviously be. I mean, they give him like a robot hand or something, or a robot armor for his hand. Okay. I'm just like, okay. Well, they're definitely going off on one. Yeah, they're definitely taking it to the nth degree here. And I don't know why Godzilla has like purple riches in this one.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess he got like a power up.
She did.
She did. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I saw actually people kicking off about it because they're like saying that they're making him, they're feminizing Godzilla by making his things purple.
What did they say? Did they say Mace Windu is feminine?
It's the leftist agenda, Trevor.
Okay.
Mace Windu.
I guess purple's out. Oh, gee.
I don't know. Everything's out. Speaking of Monarch, you said you've been watching the TV show, right?
Well, this week I decided I would like finally give it a try because people were saying it was.
Yes, and when I heard that you were doing that, I also did that.
Okay, yeah. I'm all caught up.
I am not. I've only seen like 3 or 4 episodes.
Okay. How do you like it?
I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's like
the one. It took me a while to like get okay with the fact that Kurt Russell's supposed to be in his like late 80s.
Yeah.
which because when I first started watching it, I was like, okay, I'm trying to figure out the time difference here. I was like Googling how old
I'd say
Wyatt Russell was, and I was like, okay, so he's supposed to be at
35.
Literally. So in this, Kurt Russell must be literally in his 80s. And then in the one episode, they literally just say it head on. It's like, wouldn't that make you like 90 years old? It's like, oh, it's just good genetics.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess that's just, I can get behind hand wavy just because they wanted Kurt and Wyatt in the same movie.
I would say stop digging down this path
Okay,
because
he's going to explain it.
it does explain it.
Good.
Okay,
I was hoping that would be the case. He's got some sort of science fiction-y hand wavy stuff to make him younger.
I had the same reservations as you, and but then I thought like, there's no way that that's just going to be it. Like,
Right.
'cause I feel like they would have just adjusted the timeline if that was it.
Yeah, I don't know, because part of me was like, maybe they're just stuck with the timeline because of the movies and with what they wanted to hit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, maybe they're just like gonna just hand wave it and not worry about it. But then I was like, but they've got him doing so much. He's like jumping around, shooting, driving. I'm like, he's not an old man. Although to be fair, how old is Kurt Russell? He's
probably like 72.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he is pretty old.
Yeah. He's getting too old to play Snake Plissken.
Man, he looks good though. He's doing well,
pretty
man.
good for him.
So yeah, it seems like you're all caught up. Is it worth sticking with then?
Yeah. No, I think it's good. Like it's not essential viewing by any means.
And that
it's very well made.
And that is, I guess that's set. The modern day part of that is set like after the first Godzilla movie.
Yeah,
right?
it's still like 1 year after
but before the second one,
Yes.
like 2014 or whatever it said it was.
Yeah, it main part takes place in 2015, and I think the first movie is 2014.
Yeah. So we're guessing we're not going to see any of those characters in this movie.
Well, that's why I really want to watch it, just
They
in case
might.
there was a reference. I don't think they would alienate people by having it be too much related to the show, but
Maybe just pop up
just
in
a
the
good excuse
background,
to watch it.
like drop a name or have someone show up in a scene or something.
Well, we're about 10 minutes away from the theater. Did we want to get to our question of the week?
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
Okay, so what's our question this week, Pete?
So since we've been nice segue talking about great monsters here, so we're going to talk about the greatest monsters, right? Movie monsters.
Yeah, well, and it's a question that works for both Ghostbusters and
Exactly. There's
King
plenty
Kong.
of monsters in both of those.
We know what we're doing here.
That's perfect.
So I don't know about you, but I decided to omit like the characters related to these franchise from my picks.
That's fair. Yes.
I don't know if you thought the same or
I wasn't gonna say Godzilla, but no, it definitely would be up there if you're talking about if you're talking about classic movie monsters. King Kong and Godzilla are always going to be in the conversation. That's why these movies exist. But yeah, I don't think we need to get into them too much now.
Well, now I feel bad because without Godzilla, I don't have any ladies on my list.
No?
Actually, you know what? Maybe I do. Never mind.
What counts? That's what I was going to ask. What counts as a monster?
Well, so I was going with a broad definition of this.
Because I was kind of doing that too.
And I was basing it off of like, the Universal monster movies of the 30s.
Right,
Like Dracula,
the
Frankenstein's
classics.
monster, the Invisible Man, the Wolf Man,
Mummy.
and the Mummy. So, and then you have like, the big like city destroying type. So like you can go as broad as you can, and they've been classifying those as movie monsters since the 1930s. So get mad at those dead guys for it.
No, that's what I was thinking. Because like then you can get into like your horror movie guys. They're technically monsters, right? Like your Freddy Kruegers.
Yeah, I think it's fair game.
Like even your Jason Voorhees.
Yeah,
technically a monster, is it? I don't know.
So I would say like there should be something like supernatural or unworldly about it.
Right.
You can pick Jason Voorhees when he comes back as Zombie Jason.
There you go. We got it.
Which is from the fourth movie onwards.
Oh, I could not tell you what movies it.
I think that's right. Or no, maybe that's the fifth movie. Like he literally gets electrocuted in his grave and comes back as a zombie, and then he's actually supernatural for the rest of the
series. Because they start off as like, oh, this guy's just a psycho, and then like as it grows, it's like, oh no, he's actually a demon.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's one. I'm gonna throw one out there, Mike.
Okay.
What about Bruce from Jaws?
It was on my list.
Was it?
On my list, yeah.
Because I was like, is that a monster though? It's just a fish and he's living his life.
I think it counts because there's something like unworldly about Bruce, right? Like,
I mean, was there though? I mean, he's just a shark. He's a big shark. I mean, he was terrifying.
Hey, you're the one who picked it.
I know, but that's what I mean. This is where I was like, I don't know if this is technically a monster or not, though.
I think you can count it.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So Jaws from Shark is the winner. We're done.
That was one of mine on my list. I like sticking with horror. I was gonna pick Pinhead.
Pinhead, good one.
I really like the Hellraiser movies. Mm-hmm. The first four are all like
there's tons in those movies. What are they called? The
Centibite.
The Centibite.
Yeah, there's like so many great ones to pick from, and like Pinhead wasn't like always like pegged to be like a starring role or whatever. Like he was an unnamed character when they first introduced.
Oh, is that right?
them, and then like kind of fans named
People
him
just loved
Pinhead.
it. People just loved it.
But it's a great character design,
Yeah.
and portrayed by Doug Bradley, which I don't know if you remember this.
No.
When we went to Comic-Con, I really wanted a picture of Doug Bradley, but he was out to lunch, so then I took a picture of Billy Zane, and he got mad at me.
Yeah, almost got us kicked out. Billy Zane almost clotheslined you.
Yeah.
Trying to get a free photo.
Yeah, but he was sitting between Doug Bradley.
I do remember that now,
and
yes.
one of the guys who played Michael Myers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is like weird placement.
I remember how devastated you were. We could have waited, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to meet him. I didn't want to meet him that bad.
Okay, you went.
That was the guy I was most excited to see.
Right, fair enough.
All right.
Not the Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah, no, not the Trailer Park Boys. No, it was like, hey, they're there.
Oh, yeah, look at them over there. Yeah, I was going to give a shout out to Cronenberg.
Oh, I know what you were going to say.
I was going to say The Fly.
Yeah, Brundle Fly.
Specifically. But I mean, like, he's known for his creatures, right? Like, wacky body horror stuff.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love The Fly.
Yeah, it's a great one.
And like calling him a monster is so interesting too, because like you slowly see him become a monster. And then I would say like if he didn't also like turn into a real bastard during the movie as he's turning, like
well, that's a
he
good
wouldn't
point.
even count.
If you
right?
look monstrous, does that not make you a monster?
I don't think so. Like,
What about like the Toxic Avenger? He was a good guy. Was he?
Yeah,
He was in the cartoon.
I would. I think the cartoon maybe softened his image a little bit.
Yeah.
He did kill.
He was an
people,
Avenger
but
though, right? He was doing it for good, wasn't he?
he was doing it for good. The people he was murdering were bad people who like to run people over for fun. So yeah, I don't know. I think he might get some pushback on Toxic Avenger. I think that's more superhero-y, but
Right, that's fair.
he's monstrous to look at. But yeah,
That's what I mean. Is it just enough to look monstrous, or do you have to, like you say, have some
I
supernatural
would say
quality?
I have some aliens on my list.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
And
There's plenty of great A-monster
I
aliens.
wouldn't say that every alien got on, because like you could count the Predator as a good.
Yeah, I was
movie
going to say the
monster,
Predator.
but you couldn't count E.T.
Well, he's not really a monster, is he? He's just nice.
Like you couldn't count him.
I feel like monsters you have to be scared of them.
Yeah.
Or they need to be able to do some physical damage to you.
Yeah. They gotta be nasty.
Yeah, I guess, but like E.T., I guess, could have done some damage. I don't know.
Yeah, but I was gonna pick the Xenomorph from the first Alien.
That was
movie.
on my list for sure. Just classic.
I think it's just the perfect monster design. Like it's just absolutely perfect. And I love the Queen from Aliens, but I think I prefer the first Xenomorph, like hiding in the vents and stuff in the first one. Like, because the first one's like a hard horror.
Speaking of, I don't know if there was a trailer or for the new Alien movie. Was there a trailer that
Yes.
I heard? I've not seen it.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I heard seems like they're really leaning into that horror aspect again versus it being in a big action movie.
Yeah, no,
which I'm here for.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Aliens. What I was just thinking, the aliens from Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah,
They're pretty good monsters. Like that big
I think they're
slug thing with the vagina face at the end.
they just call.
That's basically
That was
what
the
it is.
brain, right?
Yeah.
They're just called bugs in that one.
Yeah, I think so. I think
They
they have
have
a
a technical
name. Yeah, I'm
name?
pretty sure they do. They were cool. They were a cool design. That is a great movie. I love how every now and again it comes up again and people just like don't understand the message. I think it was because of that new game. What's it called? Helldivers or something? Have you heard of that?
No, does it have?
There's a new video game called Helldivers 2 where it's like you're basically like an army of Marines fighting a planet of bugs. So
Oh, that's hilarious.
yes, which is really popular. It's supposed to be really good. That's what I assume it is. I've not really looked into it, but yeah, because I think that's why Starship Troopers was trending like last month.
Yeah. Well, my friends and I played like this game called Viscera Cleanup Detail.
Oh right, I
And
think you told me about this.
You're like
one.
a space janitor,
Right.
and like you're cleaning up after like all these like classic,
Right.
like so you clean up like the ship in Alien.
Oh, is it
like,
the actual ships?
Well, like they make it as close as they can
Without
like,
getting sued.
Yeah, it's like they have like all these like alien body parts like lying around and stuff like that.
Well, I guess we're right here now. So, is there any other monsters we wanted to rattle through that we've not thought about?
Yeah, I wanted to shout out Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, nice. That is a nice one. What about Beetlejuice? No, Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
It just popped in my head because that new movie's almost here, right?
Yeah, I think it's so clever that they're calling it Beetlejuice.
Right.
It's like that just begs for a third entry.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one. Anything else? Oh, I wanted to mention Guillermo del Toro.
Oh yeah,
like Pan's Labyrinth.
Labyrinth
Pan's
and-
Labyrinth had some great ones, and all the Hellboy. Like, was it the Hellboy 2 where they go to that market and it's just like
oh yeah,
tons
there's so many great ones.
I guess we got more like creatures versus monsters, but I mean,
Yeah, it's a fine line, like I said.
but
All right,
no,
and-
he's
yeah.
a master of that.
Yeah, like I think the thing from the like the creature from The Shape of Water wouldn't count as a monster because
No?
he's got a heart of gold.
Has he though? I don't know.
I think he
I think
does.
he's just horny.
That's love.
What about? I had something in my brain and now I just lost it. Oh, it can't be that important then.
Well, my ultimate answer, which is a very boring answer for me, is The Thing,
Right.
which is like one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite.
I think that's exactly what I was going to say. That's what I couldn't remember. It was the thing. I was surprised you hadn't mentioned it, but that makes sense because I know it's your favorite, and that's a classic, right?
Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah, I don't know what I would pick for my favorite. Maybe I'll tell you after this, and then we'll see if it's Godzilla,
Or Slimer.
Slimer,
Yeah.
or Slimer, or other ghost from Ghostbusters. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Is he a monster? He's my favorite. He'd be my favorite.
Yeah. So would he just also be Gozer? Like, are they one and the same?
I mean, maybe, but it's specifically they Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I've just gotten like so many like hardcore Ghostbusters fans mad at me because I guess he's the
manifestation
form of the
of Gozer?
destroyer that they choose.
Oh, I don't know.
But why are there all the little ones running around?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like because because it was in the first one, now they're just like crowbarring him in, which doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we are gonna go watch 2 movies.
Yes.
Well,
So please,
try not to talk to each other in between those 2 movies.
yes, and please bear with us on the second half of this. We'll probably sound a lot more tired.
Yeah.
A little bit more low energy.
If you're new to the show, we're gonna go in, watch the movies, and then come back, give you some spoiler-free reviews, and then we'll open up some spoiler talk, give you a nice warning before so you can shut that off.
We'll definitely need a peer report today after we've been
Yep.
sat there for
Go
5 hours.
in between the movies. Yeah.
Just go see 2 and then go in between.
Yeah.
Intermission.
I do also provide a pee report, so tell you the best time to go pee.
Yes, that's the most important thing.
We should get motoring.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, we'll catch you guys soon. Don't go anywhere.
Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been a few hours for Trevor and I. It's been a few seconds for you guys.
Yeah, we got here at 7:40, and then we're leaving at 12:12. So it's been a night.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, not too.
So we saw Ghostbusters first, and then Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah. So, but before we get into what we thought, do you think we did it in the right order?
I think so. I don't know if that's the correct order to do that, to be honest with you. Although a lot of similarities between the two. I was not expecting.
I was going to say, I think it was a pretty decent double feature in that regard.
It was, yeah.
Like a lot of ice.
Yeah, nice theme.
Yeah.
Wasn't really ready for.
And themes about found family.
True, very true. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so I feel like people should definitely go watch Ghostbusters and then
If you're a fan of beach scenes that turn very cold,
that was like
you'll be more than
identical
pleased.
scenes of back-to-back things.
Pleased with that.
All right, so well, why don't we trade off? Like, do you want to go first for Ghostbusters? I'll go first for
Sure.
Godzilla Kong. Okay.
Yeah. So I quite enjoyed Ghostbusters. I think exactly what I was expecting is how it panned out. But it was enjoyable up to a point, but it was also kind of a mess. There was way too many characters, way too much going on for no real reason, and it just kind of made it seem a bit like it didn't know what it was trying to do.
I just wish it was funnier. Like
Yes.
I did laugh a few times, but there were long periods where I felt like it was just really slow. Like nothing was really chugging along.
It's just because there was so much they were trying to do. It's like, why do we need this person? So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of characters, like the staff that they have at that like research facility.
Yeah.
Like basically like all those characters, like it would be fine if those characters existed if they didn't also have all the legacy Ghostbuster characters in there
Yeah,
as well.
that's what I mean. I think it's a problem because they obviously were like, oh, we'll bring everyone back from the first movie. You remember these guys, right? Who could forget podcast? That beloved character.
Well, he hit puberty between movies, and so I did not recognize him at all. It took me a second to realize it was the same character.
But like, forgotten about that character in the last movie.
Yeah, so did I.
So, like, having him in this movie, I'm like, is it necessary? But like, I can understand they're trying to build like, no, these are the new characters. But it's like him and the girl, who was like just happened to be working at the research lab. Like,
Yeah.
just a bit like it seemed a bit crowbarred in here for no real reason because we already have 10 other characters here that we're trying to get on screen.
I thought there was quite a funny like meta conversation between Dan Aykroyd
Yeah.
and Ernie Hudson,
Yes,
where Ernie Hudson is like, "You are too old to still be doing Ghostbusters movies.
Stop doing it,
You
Dan.
have to find a different way to do this." And Dan Aykroyd's like, "This is exactly what I want to do."
but I love doing this. It's like that's such a could have been a conversation they had.
Yeah. So, and yeah, that like, I'd say like the last third of the movie have won me back over
Oh,
for
really?
Ghostbusters. Like, I end up giving it a pass. That it had a bit more energy to it towards the end. That's just what I felt. But like, there's just way too much Dan Aykroyd in that movie. Like it,
Just hanging out, not really doing.
just hanging out with the,
Like
hanging out with the
I'm
kids.
into the scenes where he can come in and do his like science babble talk, like and everyone else just be like, whatever, just get on with it. Like that I could get behind, but it's just like he doesn't need to just rock up
I feel
for every scene.
yeah, like Bill Murray was in the movie like, exact right amount.
But like randomly, I thought like the scene where he was like just showed up so he could reenact the test from the first movie. It's like and then he just disappeared again for like 20 minutes.
Well, I feel like he told them, "You have 2 days of my time."
Exactly it. Like I'll show up and do the scene in the firehouse, and I'll show up and do a one extra scene.
Yeah.
And we won't explain why I'm there or how I'm there. We'll just do it and move on. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you get Bill Murray in your movie, you put him in your movie, I suppose.
So, do you want to move on to
Yeah,
Godzilla Kong?
I think
Still doing spoiler-free stuff.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on Ghostbusters. I think it was got a pass for me. There was enough in there that kept me interested. I just feel like if they'd been a bit more, they could have a bit more, maybe done another pass on that script. It could have been
Oh, yeah.
a much better movie.
Do you think that they should make a third movie with this cast?
That's hard at this point to say.
Like for me, like I think just let the franchise sit
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
Like, cause it already lost a little bit of magic just from the fact that the kids are older. Like the idea, one of the things that was so
Social about the last movie is like you literally just have a bunch of kids playing Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
which just like, but now
Exactly.
they're all older. So
Yeah, it's like what would another movie be for? Like what would like they got to track down another big monster, like a big ghost, like
yeah, and it really is just the plot of the first Ghostbusters movie. Like you said, it was going to be like it was basically that.
to tell you. You mentioned about it being funnier though. I think this Camille Mangiani, is that
Yeah.
his name? He stole the show for the comedy.
He was really he was really good. Like he was sort of like the
Like that's
the
a
Rick Moranis.
that's a part that could have been just like what a waste of time having that character in there, but he made it like worthwhile.
yeah. I know like
Like him.
and yeah.
I guess like Finn
He
did
had-
not really have
he had
anything to do.
nothing to do.
Like he was chasing Slimer.
Yeah, then they did one scene of that, and then they just dropped it immediately.
Yeah, so he really didn't have a lot to do. The Phoebe, she has like probably the biggest arc
Yeah.
in the movie again. I guess Paul Rudd has a bit of an arc there
Yeah,
too.
yes, he does.
The mom doesn't have any arc whatsoever.
No. What was the name of the other girl? The girl that was like working with the not Egon in the place. She must have been in the first movie with the dreadlocks.
She was in the first movie, yeah.
Like
I think her name is
it was
Justice or
like
something?
there was literally no reason to have her in the movie.
No, yeah, she was interning.
They
or
did
whatever.
not. They did not. Her character did nothing. Didn't impact anything. It was like ridiculous.
They supplanted quite a few characters from Oklahoma to New York City.
just like because.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that just kind of it definitely. I can see both sides. I can see people hating it completely, and I can see people liking it because I don't know what it is. It's just like just seeing the Ecto One fly out at the station and with the lights, and I'm just like I'm sold. That's all I needed to see.
Yeah. Well, I just like you're talking about how like you're still a sucker for seeing those original guys in those uniforms, but for me, like we saw too much of them
Yes.
to like
And then they brought what's her name back, their receptionist.
yeah,
Like,
Janine.
like they tried to bring everyone back, even like the mayor.
Yeah.
Like that, you don't need to try and bring the guy who was
Oh yeah, he was
the mayor.
well, he was like the EPA guy.
Yeah, he wasn't the mayor in the first one.
And like yeah, he's kind of lost his energy in his old age.
He didn't seem as angry. He's like, oh yeah, I really do hate the Ghostbusters still.
Yeah.
Like, really, guy? Get over it.
So yeah, I would say for me, like I give it a pass, but like I wouldn't recommend that they try it for a third time.
No.
They're not going to get away with that again.
No, I'd agree with you. And like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to see Bill Murray in it again, but I thought he was pretty good. He was doing his Bill Murrayist.
Yeah, well, yeah, he does bring that like special
Yeah.
energy to it that no one else can quite replicate.
I was surprised they didn't try and crowbar Sigourney Weaver in there somewhere.
Well, I'm sure that they tried
Yeah.
because they got her for a post-credit scene in the last movie, right?
Right. You're right. Yes, they did.
Which is like calling a favor. You just have to come here for 1 hour.
Exactly.
So I'm sure that they tried, but
Yeah.
she's got other stuff
They
going
ran
on.
out of money because of all the other people they had to crowbar in there.
Yeah. Okay, so Godzilla times Kong.
Yes. I guess
Um,
Godzilla 10 Kong.
Is that what it is?
Well, there's more than one Kong in there. No spoilers yet.
There's not 10 though. Okay, so I think that the movie's fun,
Right.
but really stupid.
Oh man, beyond stupid. I mean, to their credit, they packed it full of a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
My word, like to the point where I don't know if it's because of the IMAX or it's because it's late, but I was legit getting a headache, like towards the end of that movie, just like, there's too much going on here. Can you just stop?
Well, at one point during the movie, they're in a cave with a bunch of ancient text on the wall.
Oh man,
And that
the cave of
scene
exposition
went on
Oh,
for
my
a
God.
while.
She's like, oh, I can read this, and it's a non-stop 10-minute
Yeah.
story of her talking, and it's like, that is a lot.
and then this will happen, and then this will happen, and then this person will support this character.
It's like, we need to like to give you commentary on what's happening now by pretending I'm reading it in this ancient script,
Yeah.
which just so happens to predict every single thing that's going to happen. Yeah, but the whole movie was just like, you literally have to turn your brain off. Every decision every character makes, the things that they do, even just their characters in general, it's just like, they're all just so stupid.
Well, it's just such a long way that the franchise has gone from that 2014 movie, which is like a very
Plays it
sober,
straight, right?
serious
Plays
movie.
it super straight, yeah.
And then,
It's like a disaster movie,
yeah. Well, because it's basically like
because that's what it is.
in the wake of like the tsunami that hit Japan.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of that energy.
Yeah.
And then Kong Skull Island comes somewhere in the middle there, and it's very light and it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And then they really just double down on that sort of energy for these last two movies.
Yeah. Like you said you saw the previous one last night or recently or whatever, and like because I remember when I saw that I was like, this is pretty stupid, but it wasn't as stupid as this one, was it?
It wasn't quite as stupid. Like this one has just like untethered itself from reality completely, and it's just like, all right, let's just do a Transformers movie, because that's really what it feels like.
You know
now.
what?
Like, it's just
It's
Transformers.
great, especially the stuff in no spoilers, but especially the stuff in Cairo. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this is straight out of
That's from the second Transformers
Yeah,
movie.
I'm pretty sure they could have just used the same footage and just CGI'd out Optimus Prime and just put in King Kong in there, and they would have been fine.
Yeah. So this lady has to go on like a very important Earth-saving mission.
Yes, dangerous mission.
She brings like one serious guy
Yep.
who's like good at his job. He's like the security
Well,
guy
good at his job is a stretch. He looks like he's a couple of years out from retirement.
yeah. Well, he's a serious person.
Right, yes. He's the only one taking it, thinks it's
Yeah,
dangerous.
he's the only one who realizes like, okay, I'm in going to a realm where human beings should not be able to survive, and that will probably
I might
die.
need a weapon of some sort, at least.
And he's like a short security guard guy, plays the exact same character in Andor. And then so bring one serious guy. I'm gonna bring my daughter because she gave me puppy dog.
Yeah, she wanted to come, so
She wanted to come. I'm bringing comic relief Dan Stevens and comic relief Brian Tyree Henry.
I tell you what, though.
No, I'm not complaining about Dan Stevens at all.
Like, they knew what movie they were in, those two.
Yeah.
They were like, screw it, we're just going to go full hog on this.
Yeah.
And just like, I don't, like, Dan Stevens was just chewing all the scenery up.
One, Brian Tyree Henry was the best part of the last movie.
Yes.
And yeah, he probably would be the best part of this movie if it wasn't for Dan Stevens, who's like just shows up wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Yes, and I think you went to the bathroom and missed a good line. It's not really a spoiler, but the guy, the serious guy we're talking about, he refers to him, I forget the line, but he refers to him as Ace Ventura.
Well, that's what he's dressed
like
exactly like Ace
dressed
Ventura.
exactly like him, and he's acting a lot like him, so why not?
And then like, really, Godzilla didn't have much to do in this. Like, one,
I feel like they always struggle to know what to do with Godzilla. They just like, he's usually like just too strong to have about, so they just kind of like, oh, he's like sleeping, or he's charging up, or he's swimming about somewhere.
yeah. One, Godzilla, great when he's smashing stuff, but he just has personality as a monster.
Exactly.
Like, especially when you compare him with what they've done with Kong in these movies. Like, Kong's just like a big, hairy, smart guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And has emotional arcs and whatnot. But like, Godzilla is just like
big lizard.
he just spends like the first like 3/4 of the movie powering up, basically.
It's like, better get ready.
And sleeping in the Coliseum, which I
like,
think is a little rude.
Yeah, not overly comfortable, I wouldn't have imagined. Like, there's better places to sleep.
Not to spoil it, but he goes back to the Coliseum to take another
back to his pit. You just imagine all those Italian guys trying to clear up the rubble, and like, mother, he's back again.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about it's like the 19, 20-year-old who got jail time for writing his name on the Coliseum this past year, and like what kind of jail time would Godzilla be looking at for taking a nap in there? And he was not careful getting it.
The amount of collateral damage in that movie is insane.
Yeah, the final battle is in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
And they arrive without warning. Like, people are all fleeing. And within 5 minutes, they're throwing themselves into buildings. And the movie pays like no mind to what kind of like human casualties there might be. Like, it doesn't give it a second thought.
The movie doesn't care about any of that. Like, all the characters like celebrating, yeah, we all doing great. It's like, no, like thousands of people are now dead.
Well, it's just, it's very interesting, like, comparing that to the original Godzilla, where like the human casualty is very much baked into like the formula of those movies. But for this one, like, people do not care.
So, I do like the fact that all those portals to Inner Earth or whatever. I keep forgetting what it's called. Is it Inner Earth?
Hollow Earth.
Hollow or Hallow? I don't know. Hollow Earth.
Hollow. Did I say Hallow?
I think so. That sounds bad to me.
It's not like hallowed ground or whatever.
Hallowed Earth. Yeah. It's graveyard.
Yeah, and then there's like a Hollow Earth within the Hollow Earth.
Yeah,
this
but every portal manages to fire you out in a major city in the world somewhere.
Yeah.
Which seems like a not great for the population.
So how would you rate Godzilla X Kong?
It's very hard. I would happily never see that movie ever again. But I mean, if you're a fan of those monsters, though, I think it gives you everything you want. It gives you a lot. You've got to be happy with it if you want it. It depends on what you want. Like, if you temper your expectations going in, and like sort of get on board. I feel the same way about the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
If you go in understanding that it's stupid and they know it's stupid and they're just making a big, fun, stupid movie, then some of those movies are actually a lot of fun.
I just think it's a bit of like whiplash from watching Monarch in this, because Monarch takes itself very seriously.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I was like, Monarch is like not the same at all as that. The tone is totally different.
Yeah. But
I mean, Monarch's not super cerebral or anything, but
no, but like there's like, you know, a well thought out story.
Yeah, it's not just like let them fight. Yeah, that was the last one, right?
That being said, there were like a lot of like young people went to the theater with big groups of friends, and they all seem to have a good time. Yeah, so I think that's the way to watch this movie.
I don't know if it was just me, but I was getting like motion sickness watching it. And I never get that usually. Right, but like a lot of this, like the scenes in Hollow Earth where it was like flipping around and because the top's the bottom and all that early on, and like when they come out of the water in Rio and it kind of like spun all the way around, I was like, oh man, I feel woozy.
Yeah, maybe that's just because you're at the end of it too.
Yeah,
too
maybe it's just because it's a long night in the IMAX screen, but yeah,
Yeah, because I'm usually bad with that sort of stuff, and I was fine.
really, yeah, I'm usually fine with it, but it's just like, oh man, this is too much. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster.
So, what would your final ratings be for both movies?
I would say I enjoyed Ghostbusters a lot more than Godzilla and Kong, but not that much more, to be honest. I think Godzilla and Kong delivers more on the spectacle end of it, I would say. I actually probably like the characters better in it, to be honest.
In Godzilla v. Kong?
Yeah, just because like I mean they were stupid and it was daft, but I mean at least it was fun and there was only 3 or 4 of them. It wasn't 12.
Yeah, I'd probably rate them around the same. Like,
Yeah.
both kind of just squeaking by with some passes.
Yeah, like go see them. It's fine. Or get a recommendation, I guess, but they're not going to change your world.
Yeah, go see Dune 2 while you still can in the theater. If you've already seen Dune 2, then you can go see one of these ones. Okay. Okay. Well, we're just about to head into spoiler talk. Please feel free to drop us a line at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com, and we're on all the socials. Let us know what your favorite movie monster is.
Yeah, looking forward to hear that. I'm sure we've probably forgotten some huge ones, so let us know.
And then for P Report, I went at an hour 20 for Ghostbusters, as right after someone did a really stupid thing. There's a bit of a
narrow it down.
And then for Godzilla X Kong, I went at 41 minutes, and it was the wrong time to go because I missed a character death.
Yeah, you did a bit.
So I'd say go at 45 minutes, Mark.
It clips along fairly fast though. There wasn't many lulls in it.
Yeah. Okay, so should we go into spoiler time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so spoilers
time.
bother you, pause before you watch both movies and then come back, or, stick around for some spoiler talk.
Sure.
All right. So, yeah,
What do you want to get into first?
So what'd you think of the big bads from both movies?
I thought the one in Ghostbusters was fairly generic. It looked pretty cool, but
it was a great character.
it was a great design, but didn't really do anything. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna make you cold.
And I feel like he could have wiped out all the Ghostbusters pretty easily, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, there's a lot in that where it was like, what's actually happening here? Because it seems like, what was even his plan? It was a bit muddy on the whole thing. Like he needed to.
Yeah, he wanted to release
free
the Ghost Army.
Why though? Why did he need that?
I feel like he could have recruited other people.
And he had his powers that seemed to be dependent on plot, what the plot needed it to be, which is usually what happens. Well, he went from being able to freeze the entirety of New York to not be able to do anything against these Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of build up. We see this orb the whole time. We know there's a really big bad guy in there the whole time.
Yeah.
Then he gets out, he makes things cold for a little bit, kills 3 people, and then is defeated.
Yeah,
right?
I think they really went out of their way to not show people dying. Because
the PG
on the beach with massive ice spikes just flying up everywhere, impaling cars, and you didn't see anybody get in trouble. The only people that you saw die was
the guy from the tobacco shop, right?
Yes, actually, him and the ones from the 1900s who were the Adventures Club at
the very beginning,
yeah, they all died. But they made it very clear they were all assholes.
Yeah, they're all colonialists.
The guy in the vape shop was an asshole too, so they're okay.
Yeah,
they can die.
Oh, I thought the opening was really effective.
Yeah,
going into that Adventures Club.
Yeah,
I was gonna turn to you and say is that Jonathan Frakes? But then
really?
It obviously wasn't because the guy had no line of dialogue. But he just the guy with a beard looked a lot like Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, there are a lot of beard acting in that one.
Yeah. No, but I can't remember what the guy's name is now.
Which guy?
From Ghostbusters, the monster.
Oh,
guy.
I can't remember.
The big bad.
It's just a generic monster name.
I like how Phoebe kind of cracks it that, I should put brass in my proton pack,
right.
But then everyone else is just no, it's fine.
Well,
we don't have to put
the whole the whole logistics of that whole end thing, it was so fractured. You could tell they just filmed random bits of it on random days because some people would be over here, then others were over here, and then they were down here. But it was like there was a lot of that in the movie where it just seemed like didn't flow very well for me. Like the scene where Camille Mangiani brings the orb to his store and he gives it to him. Like Phoebe and Podcast are there at that time, right? They're in the basement.
Yeah.
And they go up and go, "What's going on?" And then it cuts to like Phoebe being back at home in the firehouse with her mum and Paul Rudd doing something. And then it went back to the scene with Ray picking the ball up and like, "Oh, I better look at this ball." I'm like, "Did you just leave the ball?"
Oh yeah,
for
that's
like
right.
a day?
Yeah, like he just left it smashed and
It's like, so
right.
did you just leave it there for a day, or like just not even pick it up out of your smashed case, or is this supposed to be the same scene, but we just plonked another scene in the middle, which wouldn't make any sense because Phoebe's supposed to be right there.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot of stuff like that where like the editing in
Yeah,
it was brutal.
bad editing. Script supervisor asleep.
Yeah.
I felt like some of they made a lot of choices to have like a lot of close-ups. I
Right.
don't know if you noticed that. Like they were like up really close in the actors' faces a lot of the time, and maybe it's because it goes to what you're talking about, that
Just like
maybe there's people who aren't in the location with them at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Like-
shoot one as and we'll cut it together.
It just seems odd where something that's ostensibly a comedy that you have like such
right.
tight close-ups on people, where like comedy is really dying in that close-up there with like with line deliveries where you're just like tight on someone's face, not seeing how the other person's like listening to what they're saying or
Right.
anything.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of that. You could tell.
Yeah, and I was saying to you at the end, I didn't realize that Jason Reitman didn't actually direct this one.
Yeah.
Is he like directing some other project right now or something?
Not sure why he didn't. Maybe he just didn't want to.
Yeah, I don't know.
He said he did what he did his one. He wanted to do it.
Did the one, yeah.
Just like, no thanks.
And so what? Sticking on like the big bad characters, what do you think about like the hillbilly ape character or whatever? Is that
Yeah,
describe him?
there was definitely a build up to like there's gonna be another big ape to fight
Yeah.
Kong, right? And then when they revealed him, I was like, this is the guy?
Yeah, just looks like a goof.
Yeah, it's like some scrawny idiot. But then I was like, okay, well, and then like when they fought, I was like, okay, they're gonna have it that he's just like a really great fighter, and that's why he could be Kong. But I was like, but then he didn't really go that way. It's like, oh no, he's just got a magic crystal. That's what, which just seemed so bizarre. Like there's so many choices in that movie. I'm just like, I do not understand why they did that.
I feel a little bad for like Ice Godzilla,
Yeah,
who
apparently was massive,
yeah, he seems like
huge,
like almost twice the size as Godzilla.
yeah.
And probably has half the intelligence, because I thought he was just like as intelligent as Godzilla and he was just enslaved. But at the end, fucking Kong is just riding him into the rest of the apes and just like a pet.
To be fair though, like Godzilla let Kong ride him for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, like, well, just for a couple seconds, like just to, I guess, to pick up. But
so you had the splash page shot of them all jumping at each other.
I was thinking as that happened, like Godzilla's like chasing towards the one guy, Kong's running right next to him. Then he hops on his back for a second. If I was Godzilla, I'd just like start attacking Kong, like,
Yeah,
get the fuck off me, dude.
You ruined it.
What do you think? What do you think? I'm your horse?
It's like almost like they must have had a little conversation like, we'll jump down, it'll look real cool, and then when we're running, you jump on my back to get an extra boost. It'll be great. Like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, like, and then it just seemed like there was just so much going on. Like, why did they even bother having Mothra? I mean, I get everyone loves Mothra, and it was like, oh, she's the protector of this tribe, but it's like, why is it necessary to have another one of them flying around?
Is that part of the Mothra lore that he's like a peacekeeper? Like, I thought he was like a big foe of Godzilla.
I have no idea, but it just seemed a bit like, wait, let's just crowbar Mothra in here.
And I guess like Mothra was acting as like a telekinetic link between the little girl and Godzilla.
Sure.
I guess like,
Yeah, that bit at the end where she was like stood on the Sphinx's head, I was like, I have no idea what's going on anymore. Are they talking to each other? They're just like looking at her, oh yeah, I guess we'll be a team now. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
so do you think Rebecca Hall is a good mom?
No,
I think she's pretty bad.
it's terrible. She's a bad mom, she's a bad doctor, she's a bad employee. Just terrible all the way around.
And like she's letting this guy like come to the Hollow Earth, and his whole job has a podcast to expose Monarch's deepest secrets.
She's really easy to convince, though.
Yeah, she's like, come on.
She's like,
You
oh,
owe
you
me."
definitely can't come. It's like, oh, but
They-
you
yeah.
said.
They did that twice in a row. They did that
Yeah,
with the
with the
daughter and
that's
then
what
with
I mean.
Brian Tyree Henry.
It's like the two people who shouldn't go, and they managed to convince her by just being like, come on.
2 times in a row, she goes, I can't say no to you.
And also, why did they even take Dan Stevens? Was Dan Stevens in the last one?
No,
He wasn't?
this is the new character.
So he just shows up and he
He extracts a tooth.
They don't explain who he is or what his job is. That's why I was like, oh, he must have been in the last one.
I guess he's a Titan veterinarian.
Okay, it doesn't make sense.
And
When do they ever need a veterinarian for a Titan? Never ever.
he's there to pull Kong's tooth.
Yeah, he does
and
that
then
well, I guess.
somehow from there, he ends up going on the mission.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really explain.
And knows an awful lot about a lot of stuff that's going on
Yeah.
and can fly the planes and stuff, apparently.
And apparently they used to date.
In college.
Yeah.
Back in college,
Back
hey.
in college.
Yeah, like that. His character was so ridiculous.
Oh.
But I think just Dan Stevens
Well,
is like
just like,
winking at
I'm-
winking at the camera the whole way through.
I'm going to have so much fun playing this.
But it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
The bit with the robot hand thing, that was
like,
so dumb.
It's like,
so dumb.
That's a prototype. They shut us down right when we had finished it
It's
because
like-
that's what R&D like
They
to do.
built it and then brought it here and then said no, don't.
They didn't want to spend the extra $10,000 to
stick it
to
on his
paint
hand.
it or whatever.
Oh man.
And luckily, it's right here.
Yeah, and then but I was trying to think because they were all stood on the side of the mountain and he was like, we can go get that, it's right here. And she was like, well, what are you waiting for? And then he went to get it. But in my brain, I was thinking, how is he getting back to that research station? Because it took them half of the movie to get from there to where they are right now. And then he got back there and then managed to get it and then fly it back. And it looked like the other people had not moved. Like they were still stood in the exact same place. And it's like, if you just been sat there for like 8 hours waiting for Dan Stevens to come back with his
He
hands,
stopped there really quick.
it took him like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That was one of the things where I'm like, I'm worrying about it way too much because that is the least of the issues with that movie. It's just madness, absolutely madness.
So, are those other apes the same species as Kong, or are they different?
I have to admit, well, they say that it was like back in the day, there was a whole species of Kongs that protected the Earth.
Yeah. So, like, are those like the same?
It must be, right? They don't really do a good explanation of like why Kong was on Skull Island.
Yeah, I don't know. He just like got spat up there one day or something.
I don't know.
Well,
To be fair, even though they spent a heck of a lot of time with exposition in that movie and trying to explain the whole movie as it's happening, they really did not explain a lot of it. Just like,
oh man, when she's in that cave,
oh,
it's like,
that was brutal.
oh, apparently there was a big battle between these people and this ape's a bad ape,
Yeah.
and Godzilla banished them
Yeah.
down there. Like, why wouldn't Godzilla just have fucking killed them? And yeah, this ape controls this guy. They've been living in this pit for a long time. To be honest, I don't know what was stopping them from leaving that area.
No, I guess they just couldn't find it. But yeah, it's
I
there,
guess.
like when that little Abe, when he first meets the little Abe and the others, he's just like out rocking about in the woods, and then he goes to find him, and they're all like living in a volcano, and it's
Yeah, like how did
you know,
they get all the way
like
over
you
there?
know the woods are out there, eh? You
Yeah.
were just out there. It's way better than in here. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean. I thought they were
flashback.
going to explain that they were like, because it seemed like they were digging for something. Were they trying to dig to find a way
Yeah, so what?
up to the earth or something? Like just explain something here.
When they first got to like that pit, it seemed like there was some mining.
Yeah,
going
they were
on.
doing something
And I'm like,
there.
oh, like this is gonna be interesting. Like, are they mining like some mineral that they're gonna be using that's gonna come into play for this movie? But it looks like they're just like
They just thought it
they're
looked cool.
They're being like used for toil
Yeah,
for no purpose
just because the
whatsoever.
guy's a dick.
Yeah, he's just like, I want you to dig for metal. I'm not gonna use it for anything.
Don't even think for metal. Just move these rocks around.
Move these
If you
rocks
argue with me, I'm gonna kick you into the lava.
I'm gonna do some like dance
Which
moves.
must be incredibly hot in there as well. To be fair, like 5 feet away from
Yeah.
molten lava, that's gonna be hot.
Do gorillas have sweat glands?
I guess they must do, right? Primates, I suppose. But
Yeah.
they're also hairy as all hell. So
Yeah. Who knows?
you don't want to be all wearing a winter jacket and from hanging out near lava.
Yeah. So, as much like I did have fun. Like it was a fun double feature.
We never touched on it just before we sign off. What did you think of Mini Kong, the little guy?
I loved him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He was great.
I like that he kept trying to like trick Kong into going into like dangerous situations.
Yeah.
And I love that that Kong used him as like a bat.
Oh, that was amazing.
I laughed so hard.
That was so funny. It's like, is he using that small child as a weapon?
That's a weapon. Yeah.
Just wailing on him.
Yeah.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah, I like them. So if they make another movie, I assume he's still gonna have a role because like Kong's his dad now, I guess.
Yeah, son of Kong.
Yeah.
There you go.
So is he? Yeah, he's like Diddy Kong.
Diddy Kong the movie.
Definitely had Diddy Kong vibes.
You know what? I never put that together, but you're completely right.
Yeah.
It was Diddy Kong.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
All right. Well, we're here now.
Yeah.
I think we both gave these movies a pass, but love to hear what your thoughts are.
Man, it goes quick when you try to talk about two movies, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does. Yeah, well, let us know if you like the idea of us doing double features. Like we like doing this from time to time when there's like competing things we want to see in the theater, but it does take a toll on you to go to the movies for 5 hours.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just have to like put 2 episodes out, start upping our
It's a lot of
output.
a lot of editing work to.
We'll do one every 4 days.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, let us know your feedback at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com. Again, look for us on all the socials. And yeah, Pete, anything to sign off with?
Just thanks for joining us, guys. And as always, that's the final word.
Yeah. Bye.